I've analyzed over 100 climbers. From all the videos I've watched, I noticed mistakes that would often recur. On the surface, these might seem like simple errors such as a foot slipping or a handhold missed. But my job as a coach is not just to point out what happened, but to uncover the reason why it happened. In this video, I'm going to show you the 3 most common mistakes people make in their climbing. For each mistake, I'll explain why it happened, and then teach you the underlying principle that not only fixes the error, but sets you up to avoid them in the future. To introduce the first mistake, I'm going to share an opinion that might get me in some trouble. I'm going to say something controversial. Climbing is not a pulling sport, it's a pushing sport. You do need to pull in climbing, but people become over-reliant on it. They always look to advance their position by pulling with the arms. While this can achieve the result of getting to the next hold, it often comes at the expense of reinforcing inefficient movement. The first mistake most climbers make is always using the arms to pull the body into every new position. This can come in the form of leading with the foot, where the climber places a foot far ahead of their body, then uses the handholds to pull themselves over it. This also manifests in situations where the climber has a passive secondary foot, typically the flagging leg. It just hangs out while the climber uses the handholds to pull into the next position. In both cases, the climber is advancing by pulling. While this may work on a technical level, it's often not the most efficient solution. The principle that will help you minimize these mistakes from recurring is to switch from pull-oriented climbing to push-oriented climbing. You still need to hold on to holds, but think of your hands as the steering wheel instead of the gas pedal. Use them to guide where your body wants to go, and then use your feet to push you and advance your position. There are 2 practical ways to do this. The first is to keep your feet underneath you and push yourself into position. Instead of leading with a foot in front, choose a foothold that's below your hands and push off of it. You can do this in most cases with the primary foot, or the foot on the same side as the hand you're moving. In many cases, you can even push off your secondary foot. This is usually the foot that's flagging. By adding a light push off that foot, you're able to cover lateral distances with essentially no pulling from the arms. The second thing you can do to switch to push-oriented climbing is to climb with straight arms. This is a really popular drill that removes the option to pull from the arms and forces you to advance positions using only the lower body. Before we move on, you might be wondering which mistakes are showing up in your own climbing. That's exactly why I created the Climbing Audit. Send me 2 clips of your climbing and I'll show you exactly where you're doing well, identify what's limiting you, and give you specific corrections and drills to work on next. I'm opening just 10 climbing audit spots for August. You can learn more through the link below. The next mistake I see people making the most is climbing 2-dimensionally. They navigate the wall in terms of moving up, down, left, and right, but they've forgotten about moving in and out. On vertical climbs, gravity feels like it's pulling you down the wall. On steeper climbs, it feels like it's pulling you away from the wall. Many climbers don't account for this third axis and still only move up, down, left, and right on overhung terrain. What happens as a result is the infamous fadeaway. You move upward to reach the next hold, and suddenly your body, led by the hips, is fading away from the wall. The principle that will help you minimize these mistakes from recurring is to climb in a curve. This means pulling your body inward towards the wall as you move upward towards the target hold. Think of the movement as an arc. Bring your hips and torso inward, travel upward towards the target, and latch the hold before your body begins drifting away. Climbing in a curve will help you with movements that occur on overhangs or that feel very high tension. By adopting this principle, you now have a reliable technique you can use to climb 3-dimensionally and minimize those future fadeaways. The last mistake I see climbers make the most often is what I call target hold tunnel vision. This is when the climber gets so fixated on getting their hand to the target that they forget everything else. A few things typically happen as a result. They reach their hand for the hold while leaving the rest of their body behind. Or they advance their hand before they're fully settled into the current position. This causes the movement to feel swingy or imbalanced. Lastly, they move their hand towards the target while disconnecting the rest of their body from the wall. All three scenarios happen because the climber over-prioritizes the hand while neglecting the rest of the body. And as we learned from the previous two mistakes, the body is what gets you to the next hold. There are several principles that will help you overcome this instinct to get target hold tunnel vision. The first is called drive instead of reach. This means when we're faced with a committing move, it's not enough to just reach your hand towards the hold. We must drive our entire body in that direction. When the entire body goes towards the target, not only will your hand arrive more easily, but you'll also arrive with your body more ready to engage the position. The next principle is called position before progression. This means securing your current position before advancing to the next one. This includes stabilizing into the settle point, then properly setting up for the next movement. Prioritizing position before progression will prevent future instances of feeling off balance in your movements. The final principle is called haptic climbing. Haptic climbing is when you feel the climb through the pressure from your connection points on the wall. This is in contrast with optic climbing, where you only focus on what you see. When you apply haptic climbing, you look at where you're going, but you feel the movement through your connection points on the wall. This keeps your lower body engaged and connected. Mistakes on the wall are inevitable. It's your ability to observe, diagnose, and learn from them that ensures you improve as a climber. If you would like me to analyze your climbing, identify your strengths and weaknesses, and show you exactly what you need to work on next, check out the climbing audit in the link below. I'm accepting 10 climbers for August. Once those spots are filled, enrollment will close until the next round. I hope you enjoy the video, and until next time, move better, climb harder.